and let us all do we can to build a better future. Welcome to this exclusive live on-air interview with a progressive commentator who speaks truth to power, who doesn't back down. We've had him on our show.
Who knows how to make sure someone is citing things that are actually real. Pretty big deal from my book.
Now, to be fair, we've had him on our show before, but these were recorded interviews that were later premiered live. And now, joining us live, first time now, give it up for the man who went toe-to-toe with Vaush.
A man who doesn't actually exist. I'm going to say it again.
Shout out to
Vaush,
Jackson.
there's no Vaush. It's just Destiny Crowder.
Ah, okay. Shout out to Jackson Hinkle. Jackson, thank you so much for being on our show. It's a real pleasure to have you on.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here, and I love your show. I literally right before you introduced me, I was laughing as you were responding to some of those comments. So keep killing it. You guys are doing an incredible job, and I'm happy to be here to talk today about all this stuff with Vaush and some of the other stuff we're going to dive into.
Well, first, before I ask my first question, look, guys, it's all easy. All can be explained. Helicopters, okay? That's it. If you saw that historic 3-hour debate, I want to ask you how you prepared yourself for that.
Yeah.
But I think let's start from the beginning. Beginning is
it's very funny.
It's a delicate time.
Just before we even get into it, so I've always taken Destiny Crowder as a person who really enjoys talking to people that can't put together coherent sentences and then goes, look at me, I won a debate against someone who doesn't know the issues. Look at me. And then if he's talking to someone that knows what they're talking about, either A, what happened to me when I tried to get him to debate me, he either goes, I can't do it now. Can you do it in a month? I can do it in like 3 months. Can we set up a time in 3 months? Nope, can't do it. Oh, sir, I'm not going to get back to you. That was when it was between, I forget exactly what he wanted to talk about, because as you know, when we're talking with Destiny Crowder, it's you have to say exactly what he wants to say in the way that he says it. And if you do anything else, you're just a terrible person, and there's no other explanation that needs to be given.
So I think because again, you really handled that debate outstandingly, and it had to deal with, of course, the reporting that, again, Aaron Mate, award-winning journalist, one of the key journalists of our time. He's also with the Gray Zone. He also has his own show called Pushback. He did outstanding reporting on what happened in Syria, and I think it's very important that we talk about how this all got started, because
remember, if Destiny Crowder doesn't agree with that, it's just Nazism, and there's no other answer.
True. So, Jackson, let's have you speak about this. How did this all start? And there was almost a point to where it wasn't going to happen, where he was backing down. For our viewers, let's start from the beginning. So let's start this all out and how it eventually got started.
Yeah. So I had heard about your interaction with Vaush and how he dipped out on that debate. So I was trying to make a big deal out of this and kind of to talk about it a lot. I did an announcement video as to when we were going to be doing this debate. So if he did weasel out and decide he didn't want to debate me, it would have been like everyone would have known, right? So basically how it all started is he did a long stream with this other streamer named Dylan Burns, in which they were talking just off the cuff randomly about the OPCW cover-up scandal of the alleged chemical attack in Duma. And I think they talked about it for probably about 40 minutes, and it was lie after lie after lie after lie. And it was clear Vaush didn't even understand, what they were talking about. They were just, they were just saying whatever was coming to mind, right? And I was so frustrated that he was just lying about all this stuff in front of his audience of 360,000 people on YouTube alone. It's much bigger than that because he also streams on his own website and on Twitch. So, I didn't think he would actually debate me on this because I'm informed on it. And I've, actually read the investigators' reports from the OPCW. I've read all of the incredible journalism that's been done by Aaron Mate, by Robert Fisk, by Riyam Dalati, by James Harkin. I'm very informed. I try to inform myself on this. And then, to my surprise, he did, say he'd be open to debating, and it didn't go well for him, as you all know. I mean, it went very poorly for him, and I think he's embarrassed.
Well, of course, we're seeing the aftermath where he's basically pointing fingers and calling anyone who doesn't agree with him a Nazi, which is, again,
But
stupid.
then also making Holocaust jokes with people that were in the Holocaust, and
Towards
somehow
Aaron
those
Mate,
things,
yes.
yeah, those things
Exactly,
are
towards
simultaneously
Aaron
true at the
Mate.
same time. Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, the thing is, what I want to ask now is, again, that was a 3-hour debate, and I think for everyone, they should watch it in its entirety.
Just take some Tylenol beforehand.
Yes, because Vaush was being,
I mean,
insufferable.
I hate the way because this is the thing that I hate about the way Vaush. I'm just gonna say his fake name. The way that he argues, he doesn't actually like when we're on camera, when we're talking to each other, we're talking to the audience, we're trying to get to an accurate summation of what the truth is, and maybe we don't get it right at the moment, we'll correct later, but it's important as hell that we are focused on, hey, let's make sure we're just right about this. Like a week ago, we did or at the beginning of the week, we did our little update with what happened with Kyle, because it's like we want to make sure that we know and you guys know that we're always telling the truth. Vaush's take always seems to me as just, I'm right, you're an idiot. If you disagree with how I'm going to host a debate between two people, but I'm also going to be the moderator, I'm also going to be the judge and the jury and the executioner, and this is a fair debate. Vote for Vaush. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to Vaush. Good job starting your entire career going off Destiny, getting big enough, and then using that audience to split and do something else, and not actually building your own base.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. And, when we started the debate, right, he titled so I was streaming it and he was streaming it on his channel as well. He titled the stream, Debating an Assad Defender. Now, if you know me, if you've ever listened to anything I've ever said regarding Assad, it's very clear I'm not an Assad defender, and I'm very critical of many of the things that Assad has done while leading Syria, mainly in years past. But, I do have many disagreements with what he's done as the leader of Syria. Now, right from the get-go, it was clear it was going to be, just personal attacks and misrepresentation of my ideas and my beliefs throughout this entire debate. But it was even worse than that. I mean, as you guys brought up, he continuously called me like a neo-Nazi throughout the entire debate. He said if I don't agree with him by the end of the debate, then I must have a mental illness because, apparently if you disagree with someone, then you have a mental illness. And keep in mind, the craziest part about all of this is the night before our debate, Vaush spent his entire stream, 4 hours of it, preparing for our debate. And it was really an incredible thing because I got to see all of his arguments the night before we were set to have this conversation. And guess where he sourced all of his information from? Wikipedia and Bellingcat, who we know is funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. So he was reading these propaganda, pieces about the OPCW for 4 hours on his stream and thought he would be prepared for, a debate with someone who actually has the facts from the investigators who are on the ground in Syria, trying to uncover what actually happened during this alleged chemical attack.
There's one other thing, too, because there is a screenshot where he also got advice from two very reputable sources. One, that guy who went to Syria but never went to Syria and wrote only 4 paragraphs. Shout out to Aaron Mate for that statement. I mean, that's awesome. Aaron Mate said that on Jimmy Dore show. And then the other person, I believe, I'm going to get her last name wrong, Francesca from
Fiorentini.
TYT. Yeah, her. Yes, those two people who did not go to Syria. Vaush was asking their advice.
But we should obviously trust people that are VoIPing their way to research versus the guy who actually went. I mean, the word journalist that went there and actually did the investigation and the actual full report that was there, or some people on Wikipedia and TYT.
Yeah,
I can tell if you're not listening to the Wikipedia article, you're just a horrible person. Let's be real.
All right, go on, because I know you want to add a
Just
little
have
bit
a
more.
mental illness if you're not buying into exactly what Wikipedia says, I guess. Yeah.
It'd be really funny if you went back and just went to the Wikipedia article and just wrote, it's like, nope, this is all true. Then just go look at your article, your research. Oh, it's on Wikipedia. Must be true.
Yeah. I mean, so what you were getting at, though, with regard to the people who are in his DMs, his direct messages on Twitter, they have been discredited time and time again by the real journalists who have been covering this story, like Aaron Mate, like Robert Fisk, like even James Harkin or Riam Dalati. They all of their claims have been debunked. So I don't know why Vaush would go to them for advice prior to this debate. And there was actually a third person who was coaching Vaush prior to this debate. That was Dylan Burns, the other streamer I was referring to earlier, who did this live stream with Vaush, which was the initial piece of content that really frustrated me so much, surrounding everything he had to say about Syria. And the whole thing was just really interesting. And I think in response to the debate, Vaush went, or like our debate clips and Vaush went trending number 15 nationwide on all of Twitter, not just for politics, not just for YouTube. It was like trending nationwide at number 15. So I think if there's one thing that I'm stoked that we can take away from this debate, it's that we expose Vaush for the imperialist fraud he is, but also I would hope that a lot of people maybe came away from that debate with more information surrounding the what I would consider the largest pro-war deception since WMD in Iraq, which is this alleged chemical attack and the cover-up of what the investigators found on the ground in Syria.
I was going to say, I remember when this happened, when it was live, when it happened, when we were back on radio. I mean, it was that long ago that this event happened. I remember when it happened, everyone that was reading it was like,
this doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all. So the U.S. is about to leave. We know they're able to drop barrel bombs on people. And to your point also, just to reiterate what you were saying earlier, it's just such a weird take to say that if you say anything gray about, maybe in a gray zone, about any dictator, you're automatically white knighting them. Just a weird thing to say. Anyway, so when it was live and when it was happening, we said, so wait, they're saying that he's able to drop barrel bombs on people, and that's fine. They're not doing anything. But like the moment before the U.S. is pulling out, he decides now is the time to use chemical weapons that he doesn't really have because of a deal that was already made to deal with them. So he's done that, and he's doing that so that he can kill 50 random people that don't really pose any strategic. It's not like, oh my God, he's won the war because of this attack. It's, oh wow, some civilians are getting taken out. It never made any sense from any position, even back then, without even having that. And so again, for Vaush, Vaush's whole thing is, hey, I'm Vaush, I'm right, shut up. So Vaush already thought it, therefore he had to go with it. But just the idea that it's not, at least to even give him a little, something of a leeway, that at least there's a back and forth to be made. There's a genuine back and forth to be made. And I mean, we're right. But you could argue there's a genuine back and forth to be made because there's just so much evidence. And now with a lot more.
Thanks to Aaron Mate.
This is not how it happened. I also loved when he said to you something like, yeah, but those people looked really scared when they were running upstairs. The only explanation for that is a chlorine attack. Right, of course. People panicking and running upstairs has to be chlorine. We know when there's a stampedes at stadiums, chlorine attack.
No, again, too, just the way the entire thing happened. I mean, if you look at Aaron Mate's full work and research, I mean, he had to testify in front of the United Nations, award-winning journalist who did all this work, and yet notice you have pundits, people who haven't even set foot in Syria, who didn't do an ounce of investigation.
How long has it been since Vaush left his parents' house? That's the real question we need to be asking.
Exactly.
Here.
So of course, I think it's only fair for us to really ask this too. Seeing those this tactic that Vaush was trying to do is trying to make you slip up.
And congrats on sticking with the points. And that's
how did you how were you preparing yourself for that? Because that's the kind of thing that Vaush likes to do towards people. I don't think he was really expecting you to really kind of hold him accountable. And there were points where his armor was just cracking and he was just snapping at you.
Yeah, so that was really his main tactic. Fortunately, I guess unfortunately, I have seen a number of Vaush debates in the past, and I had a few people who had debated Vaush in the past who reached out to me, who kind of align with my political thinking, who explained to me what his strategy was likely going to be, and they were right on the money. It was just continued obfuscation and a denial of the facts, and a consistent effort to turn the conversation away from what the facts are, what we know so far. Again, we don't have an answer to what actually took place in Duma, but we do have a series of facts and reports that show us that it was that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was not Assad who committed this alleged attack. So I prepared by just again watching previous debates that he's done, and really just the main thing was I spent about 3 days before the debate prepping like a 16-page document of all the information that he could potentially spew out, right, in the matter of the few hours we were going to be talking, that he might use to try and refute any of the evidence that was found by the investigators on the ground in Syria. So during the debate, I had this massive document that whenever he said one thing, I could just plug into my document and be able to cite the specific sentence in a given report, be it the ballistics report or the original report that the FFM team put together, and just not even have to speak from my own opinion, but just speak from what the actual reports told us surrounding what happened and what they found. And I think that's probably what resonated with a lot of people, because it wasn't necessarily like me versus Vaush in the debate. It was the evidence, the overwhelming evidence that we have versus Vaush talking out of his butt surrounding the things that he found on Wikipedia the night before.
Right.
I just want to shout out to Vaush for literally doing debate prep publicly. I just think that's kind of a hysterical thing to do, last minute. It's imagine if every student that hadn't even started an assignment the night before was you know what, let me broadcast this and send a link to my teacher so they know that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to be really confident about it when it happens.
So I do want to ask you at one point during this debate, there was, because you did send him, Vaush, that all the evidence and sources that you were citing, which is again fantastic, because you need to have that, especially when dealing with somebody like that who I guess he's so used to talking to people that he could probably outmaneuver.
He's used to people that are what? I didn't know that.
So the issue is, though, and this is what's very important. There's a point in the video, and I forget what timestamp it was in, where you caught him screwing up, and there were numerous other, but there was one key point. Again, it's right now. I think that clip went viral over Twitter. But can you just talk about that one incident right there, where you were able to finally get Vaush to make a little stutter step?
Yeah. So I think the one you're referring to in particular was surrounding his claim that Ian Henderson, who was one of the most senior members of the fact-finding mission inspector team for the OPCW that was in Duma, Vaush claimed that Ian Henderson was A, never on the ground in Duma, and B, was not a part of the fact-finding mission team, which are two demonstrable falsehoods, and I proved him wrong, and he had nothing to say for it. We not only know that Ian Henderson was on the ground taking measurements on site of the alleged attack, because he's the one who produced the engineering and ballistics report that found that these cylinders could not have been dropped from helicopters based on the measurements we have from the holes in the ceiling in one of the locations. So there's that, but also to refute his point that Ian Henderson wasn't a part of the fact-finding mission inspector team, we have a trove of documents from the OPCW that not only show that he was mission personnel, he was a part of the fact-finding mission team, but also that this inspector, Ian Henderson, was given the authority by the director general of the OPCW, who's now leading this cover-up scandal. He was given authority by his office to lead some of the missions into the hospital scene and into missions into the site location. So not only was he just a member of the team, he was a senior member. He was one of the two most senior members of the team. So that just goes to show that he really didn't know what he was talking about. And he was lying. If I hadn't have pushed back on those comments he made, he would have continued to have done what he did on his live stream that frustrated me so much, which is what sparked this debate. He would have just kept on talking, and his audience would have never known because, they're not going to fact check this stuff. They just believe what Vaush has to say. So that's, again, why, like, at the heart of this, at the core of this, why I think it was so important to debate him and to challenge him on the BS that he was espousing.
All right.
And again, this is like, so again, at least with our experience trying to debate Vaush and him running away from us.
This was in 2019.
I'm really happy
too.
that he did walk into someone who knows what they're talking about. And it was really, again, it was just wonderful. I mean, the worst part of watching it was watching him. The best part of it was obviously watching you. And it was kind of funny because it felt at a certain point in time in that debate, and I think I'm using debate in a very ironic way. All you really were saying was, hey, man, can you cite the thing that you said? You said this thing. I also love that you kept making him commit to what he was saying, because he would say something, then he would change it, and then he would say, no, I never said that before. There's no rewind button. And then he would just go, hey, before we do it, I just want to make sure I'm clear. It was just beautifully, like, you killed him with kindness to this a very large degree, and it was just awesome just watching him just continually running his head into a wall, because, again, as soon as he walks into someone that knows what they're talking about, like yourself on this issue, I mean, imagine how he would have dealt with Aaron Mate. I mean, this entire thing is still so humorous to me.
Aaron Mate would have destroyed him. But yeah, could you, because, I mean, again, holding somebody like that, again, Vaush, who, again, refuses to even admit that he got owned. Let's face it, we all saw
Oh, my God, the fact that he finished, he rage quit and was like, I won that.
Yeah, exactly. So hold on. Let's actually get to the point to where we're actually getting to the point where he did pull out those earplugs and just rage quit. What
was that like?
What was that like in slow time, I guess? I don't know. You're there just having a debate, and all of a sudden, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Literally, all you're saying, if I remember right, all you're saying is, hey, dude, can you please source the thing that you said to me? I'd just like to know the source of the thing you said. Hey, dude, no offense, but can you just source the thing you said?
Yeah. So there was there was two things that led to that moment in particular, the rage quit moment. The first was he made the claim that in one of Ian Henderson's report, again, this is one of the lead inspectors, Vaush claimed that Ian Henderson found in his report that there was a chemical attack in Duma, which is just that's a lie. Like, he never said that. He never insinuated that. The report that he was citing wasn't even investigating that. It was investigating whether or not helicopters could have dropped the cylinders into the building, or whether or not there was manual placement of those cylinders. So the report he was citing wasn't even looking into whether or not there was a chemical attack, which was the funniest part of all. So I asked him to cite it, cite where you claim that Ian Henderson said that there was a chemical attack. He couldn't, and he got very frazzled after that. Then he said, the second thing was, he said there was a videotape which showed the cylinder falling through one of the site roofs. And as it was falling through, there were people running around the building, choking, screaming, dying, and they had foam protruding from their mouths. Now, he sent me a video that he claimed to show that during the debate. I watched the video. I've seen the video before we even had this debate. The video is of the people who were filming this, right, throughout the hospital scene and through the chemical attack scene. These white helmets who are funded by, the UK, and they're there to do propaganda. And they were filming dead bodies on the ground. They weren't filming people running around, screaming, choking, dying, and seeing this cylinder fall through the roof as this is all happening, as Vaush claimed. So I pushed back on that as well, and he got very frustrated. And then directly after he couldn't cite those two claims, he said something to the effect of, so what you're telling me, Jackson, is you believe things X, Y, and Z. And I started to respond, and I said, well, Vaush, let's go point by point, and I'll tell you whether or not I believe the things that you just said, points X, Y, and Z. And as I started to go point by point, I listened to it after the fact. He's like, oh my God, well, if you're just going to sit here and do this and continue to circle around back on all of these old points, then I don't have time for this. And he just rips out his headphones and leaves. And I'm like, you're the one who asked me if I believe these things. And I was going to go point by point and tell you whether or not I believe the things you just asked me if I believe. So, he clearly wasn't invested in having a full conversation about this. I could have talked for like 3-4 more hours about all this stuff. And unfortunately, there was a lot of damning evidence that definitely sides on, my side of the argument that we didn't get to, which is unfortunate. But I feel like for the subjects we did discuss, I made my case.
Do you think the one thing I don't like about the way he talks is like he doesn't let you talk for more than like 7 words. Like that's like there's like some buzzer in his head. It's like the person's talking for more than 7 words. I need to interrupt and tell them they're not being clear. How was dealing with that?
Or better yet, how'd you prepare yourself for that? Because, I mean, again, every debate that Vaush does, it's just like that's what he does. He always interrupts. He doesn't let people speak.
Yeah. No, it's definitely tough. I don't know. Like I honestly, I feel like oddly enough, the times in which he did let me run on and speak for a little bit were the times where I was actually reading the the original report or the engineering report or the toxicology report, and I was able to get out all of the key information that was like probably the most important information I needed to make my argument. So though he was interrupting me time and time again, and then he was claiming that I was interrupting him, when if you watch the debate, It was very clear he spent the majority of the time talking. I felt like the key points I needed to make I don't know how or why, but like I was able to get out my points and quickly read off the things I wanted to read off when I was doing that. So I guess you can consider me lucky he didn't interrupt then, but maybe it was just he was so shocked that he was being proven wrong in real time that he was trying to grapple with that and he didn't know what to say. Because when you're presented with this overwhelming amount of facts and evidence that came from people who are actually on the ground investigating this, and it's not censored and it hasn't been redacted, and it's been it was censored, but it's been now leaked in its entirety and we're able to read it. They make a very convincing case, and it's hard to refute any of the points that they arrived at in their reports.
I want to actually switch things up because it is somewhat related to your debate, but it's also about a bigger issue. And I'm not going to use the word drama on this because, I might have slipped up here and there, especially on earlier segments, but it's about the future of progressive media. Because let's face it, social media, it's a part of our lives. There's no debate about it. We're all connected to the internet, whether we like it or not. It's here to stay. But yet, the hard work that Aaron Mate has done, Glenn Greenwald, the entire team at the Gray Zone who won that lawsuit where they were in the fight for their lives, Raina Kalik, we're seeing people like Jimmy Dore constantly being attacked, smeared by larger outlets like TYT, people like Vaush, who want to discredit the hard work about speaking truth to power, the work of what journalists are doing out there on the ground. We see people like Aaron Mate, for example, again, out there in Syria. He didn't write 4 paragraphs. Aaron Mate stood in front and testified in front of the United Nations. I mean, that takes time and dedication, but yet that work is being ignored, and all those people have been smeared and ignored by these larger outlets. What is the future of progressive media in your mind, your opinion? Because it looks like it's not going to go away anytime soon. And I personally think it's just those that have that larger platform want to spew, I guess, corporate media talking points for social media.
I would even just encompass that to also ask, how do you think? And it's like, I don't like. Maybe it's not a war. I mean, it's easy to think of it as a war between different ideologies that we're working with right now. But whatever this schism is, where we're fighting over what real means, where do you think we're going? How do you think we're heading?
I think everyone's on their own path, but what I can definitely agree with you two on is that there are different factions in these either left or pseudo-left spheres of political commentators, journalists, news analysts, whatever you want to call them, streamers. And those factions are they're not like super well defined, but I think we can generally do a good job of like being able to associate certain streamers or commentators with other ones and recognize that there are different factions. And what this is all about is combating misinformation, combating imperialist lies, And actually, oddly enough, a book I've been reading that I'm almost done with, and I'm going to be interviewing the author today on my show, but Caleb Maupin just put out this book, BreadTube Serves Imperialism. And it's about how essentially this faction of streamers, mainly Twitch streamers, but also YouTubers, that define themselves loosely as BreadTube, they toe these imperialist talking points. And Vaush happens to be like, I would say, like the current kingmaker of BreadTube. He's probably the most well-known BreadTube political commentator. So as far as moving forward, again, it's about everyone's going to do this in different ways. Like for me, I think a path that I'm invested in and I've now proven that I'm somewhat talented in, maybe, I don't know, that was my first debate, so we'll see how I do in the future. But like combating these lies head on and challenging these people to conversations that they might not want to be party to. But if we can actually expose their lies in real time before their audience and before my audience, there's going to be more and more people who recognize those lies and make their way over to the truth, to shows like yours and mine, and find incredible journalists like those who you just mentioned, like Ron Yakalik and Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal, everyone else at the Gray Zone, and Breakthrough News, like all of these great shows. So again, everyone's going to have a different way of trying to win those people over. I would welcome the people who are telling lies to just maybe stop telling lies and tell the truth and give an honest analysis and interpretation of the news and what's going on in the world today. I think that'd be a way easier, avenue to solving these problems that we see, but we don't see that happening anytime soon. So in the interim, it's just going to be about winning over these audiences. And, I'm currently trying to set up a debate with Destiny, who's another big streamer. He has about 1 million followers between all his channels. And I want to talk to him about a relevant issue that our channels both discuss a lot. The absolute disgrace that the Justice Democrats have become, how they've abandoned every single key opportunity that they've had to fight for the progressive policies they ran on. I want to talk about that, and I want to try to win over more viewers by talking about that. So I'm just tapping in essentially to how I made that crossover in my own political journey. When I was listening to Jimmy Dore for the first time, he was debunking the lies that were being told to me by other political commentators who were doing political cover for the squad. So that's kind of what resonated with me. That doesn't mean it's going to resonate with everyone, but that's how I seek to, continue this effort moving forward.
So I'll just say, because I know we want to run over in a second to everyone that's given us comments that they want to ask you, but I want to say I think that you did a really good job, especially for our first debate. It very much did come across that you were but again, I think when you're talking with Vaush, just staying calm and sticking with the facts makes you look professional compared to him anyway. So I think that we all really enjoyed watching that happen. We really enjoyed watching you almost seemingly effortlessly take him down.
It was beautiful.
But it's also really good to hear the behind the scenes of how you did your prep, how you thought through how you're going to prepare, how you did research on the person you're debating, and Vaush watched Wikipedia articles.
So there we go. So I think it's only fair. FaZe, for our people on Odyssey, Rockfin, Odyssey, and YouTube, do we have any questions directed to our wonderful guest? Oh, all right. But I know we did get a couple of YouTube super chats, though. Maybe if we do get
FaZe, want to read them out for us?
Can we read them out for at least for our guests? Because I know some of them were directed towards Jackson and the hard work that he has done.
Yeah, any others, we'll skip till the end.
We'll skip to the end
for us.
We have $5 from Diane Conklin, who says, "This one's from super grandkids Ryan, Emma, and Leah, your super fans."
Oh, there you go.
Outstanding.
So
all
you
right.
got some super grandkid fans out there.
You got some super fans. Also, what else?
We have $99.99 from Andres Torres, who says, "I like truth and facts. Thank you for all you do. Whoever listens to Vaush has a mental deficiency.
Oh,
There
there's
we go.
something wrong with him there. Oh, my,
We're
my
gonna help
goodness.
him out. That's right.
And also, I think we got something here as well that's related. Vaush spent this is from Les Albro, $20. Vaush spent 3 hours making a flat Earth argument that he didn't even understand, while Jackson made a fact-based argument that he took the time to research. As long as Jackson kept his cool, the outcome was never in doubt. And I have to say that was something that is fundamentally important. But
That
go
Vaush
ahead.
just trusts in his ability to maneuver words. He doesn't trust in his ability to be right.
So with
Exactly.
I have a two-part question for you. Number one, where can our viewers find you online and social media so they can support your work? When is that debate happening with Destiny? And then finally, number three, this is something that I almost forgot to bring up. After your debate with Vaush, you had another challenge, and that was a morning run. How challenging was that run?
I'll answer that one first. Yeah, I went on a little beach run with some of my boys after the debate, and it was definitely more challenging than the debate itself. Went on I think it was like a 5-mile run.
Good.
But that's more challenging than the debate. As far as where people can find me, I'm my YouTube channel, which is where I primarily stream. I also stream on Rockfin, Twitch. Have all my content on Odyssey. It's just The Dive with Jackson Hinkle. And then I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, just Jackson Hinkle. So, and the Destiny debate, we haven't locked in a time yet, but I'm hoping maybe this Friday, but we'll see. You guys are the first person who's heard me throw out a potential date, but we'll
Breaking
see about
news.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask two things out of all that. You make a splash with Destiny. Let's talk about it again. I just really enjoy in the 1 out of 1. You know what? And so far you have a 100% win record as far as I'm concerned right now. So
Hey.
let's get you to let's maintain that and
Yeah.
let's talk because remember our channel did have a debate with Destiny on Medicare for all a while back, and we also employed the exact same strategy you did of just stay calm, talk points, and the audience was getting won over. I'd also just like to ask on a personal note, because you are on Twitch and we've been thinking about it, how is being a news channel on Twitch going?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'll definitely be sure to watch that debate you did with Destiny to prep. But Twitch is interesting. There's no algorithm on Twitch, so it's all about essentially building partnerships with other streamers and building those connections, doing streams with them, and rating and hosting other streamers and stuff. It's interesting. We can talk more about it off stream, but there is a great channel called Infrared. They're fellow anti-imperialist leftists who have been helping me, build my audience on Twitch, and I look forward to doing some, like team partner debates with the main streamer from their channel, whose name is Haas, pretty soon. So check them out. They're great as well. And honestly, I think that's the future for building out the model for winning over these BreadTube audience members in the future to our side of the aisle. I think it's got to happen on Twitch because that's where they're at.
All right.
good to know.
Speaking of truth to power, Jackson Hinkle, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. All the best to you. Please take good care of yourselves. And now we are going to be closing out the show. Jackson, hold on. Wait, we actually got one more chat
Very
from
big one.
Alan Marone, good friend of the show. Helped us with our first intro video we ever did. $100.
Thank you so much,
Tulsi
man.
Kratz for the
Oh,
win.
yeah.
All right, there you go. It's a Tulsi time as
Hey.
always.
And
Gotta
people are
remember that.
waiting for us to do a Tulsi story, and we're like, when news happens, we'll do something.
Yeah, we'll
We're
do
not
something.
going to
There
manufacture
you go.
it.
So there we go. Jackson,
Hey,
all the
thank
best
you guys
to you,
so
my friend.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for doing what you do, man. Keep
Take
it up.
care.
All right. Peace out.
All right, that was an awesome interview with Jackson Hinkle. And again, I'm going to say this right now in front of the entire viewing audience. We need more people, more citizen journalists across this country to step up and to speak truth to power. Yes, is it a tough thing to do? But we need to step up because corporate media and the current titans on YouTube aren't going to do it. They're going to keep on spewing out corporate media talking points, and that's got to end.